A very good morning to all the viewers on this Sunday morning. This month of March, as we have celebrated International Women's Day, we Mind Mirror Paradigm have come up with an awareness session on various aspects of womanhood and mental health of women. We hope that we could reach out to masses talking not only about the problems but also the solution which will help us to grow as a society and break the bias. As we have come here today talking on embracing womanhood, the first question which comes is the expectations attached by the society, irrespective of the gender. While talking about gender issues, the first thing which strikes is the conditioning through which we learn that certain things are meant for boys and certain are meant for girls. The society as a whole has resulted in a surplus of accurate as well as inaccurate information. Information that is a subject to the various biases we humans are subject to. So, let us start today's discussion with a video which will unfold many phases of womanhood. Today, as we are bringing to you part one of our discussion, where we would discuss the first 30 years since birth of a woman, their roles and challenges in the society, and its effect on their mental health. So you are welcome to put in your comments as what you understand by the video, what is your perception about the video, what is your opinion and perception and suggestions regarding today's topic. So you are welcome to discuss, ask questions, suggest your opinions as well. So as we start, before I am going to show a video, let me just share the screen. So, today, let us start our discussion on this beautiful topic of embracing womanhood. So, first, let us welcome our panelists for the discussion on embracing womanhood. So, our first panelist is our very own Dr. Jaipal Kapoor, sir. Namaste, sir.
Very good morning and namaskar.
Namaste, sir. So let me first I took my pleasure and to introduce Dr. Kapoor. He is a chief medical officer at SAG, and he has served in family welfare as an ex-additional director at Directorate of Health Services, and also have served as an ex-project director at Delhi State AIDS Control Society. He is presently detailed in Lal Bahadur Shastri Hospital, New Delhi. He is endowed with state awards in 2001 and 2, and many other national awards is there on his cap. He was also invited as a panelist in side events of General Health Assembly. UN in Geneva in 2018. He was also offered international jobs by WHO, UNICEF, and Bill Clinton Foundation. So, sir, I would request you to say some two or three lines of, and the platform is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to be this platform of mind mirror paradigm. It's such an important issue being discussed today on this Women's Day, which we celebrated this month. And it's such a pleasure that we are going to discuss very important issue today. And I really appreciate, Sweetie, also you two are taking so many causes which are so important at this very moment. My takeaway right in the beginning will be that we are in the era of transformation, isn't this? The
Yes,
differences has to go away. We have to bring in gender equality, and it is evident that world is coming to the grips with the fact that without the contribution and creativity of the 50% of the world population, you know what I mean, the woman, we cannot imagine a better future. We see the platforms and systems which are being developed, being generated to create equal opportunities. But still, there's so many biases which you mentioned remain in the
yes,
society.
yes, sir.
We need to really come out of these biases. Let it be emotional bias, let it be societal bias, let it be biases which are being prevalent from the centuries. If we have to grow further, we have to have a brighter future, we have to bring in gender equality. And that's what the message of this year's of Women's Day was also, to remove the biases. That's a key
Yes,
message which they wanted to give. But I let me say the positivity. There is a change in the air. I can feel that change in the air. If I am also being there and my circle which I move about us, there is a change in the air. I can really feel it, that we are now are trying to come out of those biases so that we are all equals. I will
exactly.
hand over here and continue, please, from here.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for like empowering the people also to know. Because the thing is like what we feel is like until and unless your thoughts are broadening. And as I said, the acceptance is also very needed. So we need to work on our thoughts. At the same time, we need to work on our acceptance. And once you start accepting, you will feel the change. That is very much required. So thank you so much, sir. Now
And
I
your
would
topic
like,
is very relevant. Let's embrace the womanhood. It's just not
yes,
acceptance, embrace. I
yes,
always believe the word you have chosen is very right. It's nothing like empowerment. I will say we are embracing. We are all equals here. Sure.
yes, yes. And we should enjoy this. This is a journey, and we should enjoy the journey together rather than fighting for this is my right and this is your right, this is wrong, this is right. So let us just enjoy the journey together. That is what
Sure.
is more important.
Sure.
So, I would like to introduce my very dear friend and who was my colleague as well. So, she is Mrs. Priyanka Dixit, a dear, dear friend of mine and very close to me, as our thoughts and things really do match a lot. She is an educator by profession. She has been serving as a teacher since a decade in one of the prestigious institutions in India. She is an avid reader and excels in creative writing, and I've seen her writing. I really love her writing and the way she puts and pen down her thoughts. She has bagged many prizes in debates, acting, and elocution, and she is a great speaker, no doubt. I can vouch on that, with intense thoughts and voice of her own. And she has an excellent leadership quality, which makes her stand out. To welcome Priyanka.
Thank you so much, sweetie. Namaskar. Very good morning to each and every one of you present here. First of all, thank you very much for giving me this platform. It's a first for me being on the social media in this capacity, and it's a pleasure. Feeling great. Okay, so being a teacher, breaking complex things into simple is what I do by profession and by choice. So I'll begin with the breaking up of the name of the platform that you've given to me, mind mirror paradigm. Mind is the powerhouse of human anatomy. The entire process works depends on that. Mirror is the reflection of all that we go through, our our behavior, our patterns, everything mirrors what we are within. And a paradigm is an example or pattern of something. Now, before I continue, I'd just like to quote Maya Angelou. She said, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude, but don't complain. I was told to keep my complaints within limitations. So, within limitations, my complaint, our mind already knows the evils that are prevalent. We mirror our displeasure very sweetly, sugar coatedly, nicely, trying to keep it harmonious because, of course, we are social beings and it is very important to be polite, to keep everyone together while we are moving. It's a must, of course. And what we try to do while all this is being done is to break the pattern by addressing it. Okay, that addressal is very important. And along with that addressal is important that we accept those problems. Once the acceptance comes, the remedies are much easier. So I believe today's session is going to lead to this, our minds expressing our thoughts, mirroring our views, and our paradigm, the breaking of the pattern. So we'll give our best to do so as politely and as nicely as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Actually, the thing is like the way you have put down and you have associated mind mirror paradigm with today's topic is beautiful. And I really appreciate the way you have put down your views on this. Thank you so much, Priyanka.
Thank you so much, sweetie. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Now, I would like to add our third panelist for today is Miss Shabontika Bose, who is a young mind and studying in third year of chemical engineering at NIT Durgapur. She is a recipient of Vigyani Kanya Medha British Scholarship, if I have pronounced it right, under JBN STS in 2019. She has passion for writing, playing the piano, and taekwondo. She is a black belt actually. So I would give this platform to Shibantika, and I would like her to speak on this. At the same time, if I have made something wrong in introducing you, please, I would like you to introduce yourself in front of everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, before anything, there was no errors in the introduction. I'm really, really happy that I was introduced in such a beautiful manner. Hello, everyone. Good morning to everyone who is watching. My name is Shabantika, and as ma'am said, I'm a third year engineering student. Uh, I'm very grateful to be on this platform with people who have had years of experience in dealing with careers, dealing with society in general. And as a representative of the youth, I think I have realized quite a bit of, quite a few important things in the last couple of days. So I think I turned 20 like around 3 4 days ago. So I think with the end of adolescence, there is quite a few siren calls or quite a few things that people realize. So maybe for my ancestors, my great grandmothers, my grandmothers, for them it was a siren call to start a family. It was to build a household. For my parents, it was to build stability. For me personally, I got to choose my own siren call. For me specifically, it is choosing my career. And I believe that with the work that everyone is putting in, both men and women, more and more people are getting to choose their own calling. And as a member of the newer generation, there is nothing that could have made me happier. However, I do acknowledge that this entire body of work was built on a very dark history, on a very bloody history almost. And I think today we can all thank the people who put in the actual work so that we can continue to do what we are doing in a more harmonious manner, as Miss Priyanka suggested. Thank you so
Exactly,
much.
exactly.
Yeah.
Very great saying. Actually, the thing is like, yes, we are going to bear the fruits of what our ancestor has fought for, and it's not like that we are still fighting in that particular same way which we used to fight. But yes, what I personally feel is that rather than fighting for the equality, you fight for the equity, right? Because that what matters. Because equality, if we just say, is just a word. I personally feel so. So rather than fighting for each and every small things, why don't we try to go and reach there? And why need to prove to everyone? That is the biggest question comes to. Now, the last but not the least, my one of my favorite, and my I really admire him that at the last moment he has agreed to pitch in and save the whole thing. So my last panelist would be Mr. Mohit Agarwal, who is a final year undergraduate student who is pursuing his BTech in Computer Science and Engineering from NIT Durgapur itself. He was an intern at Microsoft Inc., but now he is going to join Microsoft soon this year as well as a software engineer. He's passionate about technology, international relationships, and he regularly is engaged into multiple debates, conferences, MUNs, and lot more because he believes that learning is the biggest mantra and it can keep a person move on and going. Right, Mohit? So the platform is yours if you want to say something to our viewers.
First of all, good morning to everyone watching this stream. Very good morning, ma'am, Dr. Kapoor, Priyanka, ma'am, Shubhantika. It's a pleasure for me to be here on this platform. Yesterday, when ma'am told me to speak on this topic, it was a no-brainer that I can come and contribute something to this panel. First of all, I've been very fortunate that most of the role models in my life have been women. I come from an institution where most of my senior section teachers were women, people who I owe so much to, people who have taught me so much in life. Then my mom, then my seniors in college, my batchmates in college, and my juniors in college. One of them is sitting right here, who have taught me so much, who have helped me so much, and who are actually my role models in life. There are just two, three takeaways from this discussion which I would like the panel to focus on and which I personally believe in. One, as I've been a part of a lot of Sweetie Mom's streams, a stream on generation gap, a stream on mukbang, and now this stream on embracing womanhood. I think one basic thing which encompasses all common mental health issues is the lack of communication. And when it comes to embracing womanhood in general as well, I think the main reason why people tend to discriminate based on gender is because we assume a lot. I will shed some more light on this later in the discussion based on personal experiences. But I think even for men today who claim to not be misogynists, who claim to embrace womanhood, sometimes tend to make small assumptions which might turn to be against women. We do not try to communicate with them and rather we assume कि ये तो उससे नहीं होगा, and that is something which is the root cause of this problem even in today's society. But at the same time, I do appreciate the effort that is being put around. I think people are moving in the right direction, so as to say, and I hope that this discussion is the beginning of the communication which I seek to create as a takeaway from this discussion. And again, thank you for inviting me, ma'am. It's a pleasure.
Exactly. Mohit, you have rightly said, because we people have a tendency of judging things. We have a tendency of apprehending things. पहले से ही सोच लेते हैं, एक धारणा बना लेते हैं कि हाँ ऐसा है तो ऐसा ही होगा, ये है तो ऐसा ही होगा, इससे नहीं होगा. So because of these things, apprehensions, a lot of problems are created. So now let us, let the ball roll, keep rolling. So the first question which I want to put across is, as we are going to talk on this today's topic of embracing womanhood, exactly do you mean by the embracement of this womanhood? So I would like to ask first Dr. Jepal Kapoor, sir, like what according to you is embracing womanhood means? So yes, sir, you are on mute, sir. Yeah.
The thing which I started was that this we are undergoing this transformation. This world is transforming. We are having so many opportunities for equal rights for both the genders. But to bring out this transformation, we need to embrace womanhood. What I want to say over here is The responsibilities lies with both the genders to make our future brighter, and particularly I will say with the men. They need to embrace womanhood, give them the responsibilities, give them the all the choices which they want to make, and come out of that biases which have been prevailing from years. And not only the societal biases, of their emotional biases also, so that this world really becomes equal. I am not saying the responsibility doesn't lie with the woman. Women also have a responsibility, as Madam Priyanka was saying, to carry on with their works, to show that they also need their place in this world, but doing it very softly and smoothly. I'm again saying this repeatedly. Madam has also said this. No, madam, we are not stopping you from conveying your issues. But the thing is, we need to make this world better, not bad. We want to make this world smoother, softer, happier. At the same time, I will again say men has a higher responsibilities. As Mohit was saying, it's just not communication. We have main issues, attitudinal issues at this moment, Mohit. Men carry so much of their egos on their shoulders here. That's a attitudinal issues which is prevalent from years. Somehow, that's what I'm saying. The responsibility lies with the men to bring out this transformation. And it starts from the birth. It starts from the way we upbring our children. And particularly, we upbring our men, our boys in the society. That needs to change. And for that change to happen, we need to have the parents, the future parents which are sitting over here, both Mohit and Pranchu over sitting over there. You are the going to the future parents. So please, I'm very happy to see you that you have changed your thinking. Your attitudinal change is happening, and I'm really very sure that you will be bringing up your children in an equal environment, which is gender equal, and both the genders will be having equal rights over there. So I will again say that responsibility lies with the men. Men has to embrace womanhood. That's very important part of it. My thinking is womanhood is as equal as manhood. There's nothing like this. We are equals, but it's ultimately men has to embrace that we are equals.
Exactly, exactly. That means the when we are talking about the acceptance and the embracement, the men need to start changing their thing, their thinking, and they need to shrug off all their egos actually. Because one that particular, that जब भी कोई चीजें अगर if there's a hindrance, if there's a hindrance in a tunnel, things will not pass on, things will not pass through easily. So we need to remove the hindrance, and that is the ego, right? The attitude, the negative attitude. There should be a positive attitude, there should be an attitude, but we should take off the negative attitude, I feel. Mohit, you want to say something what sir has told you?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, thank you so much, Dr. Kapoor, for bringing out the attitude issues and the issues which are there in upbringing, which are, responsible for the state of society today. Answering ma'am's question as to what the topic embracing womanhood means. First of all, to me, the fact that we describe womanhood as a separate entity has to be acknowledged. That womanhood is something which is different from manhood, as sir mentioned. Because at the end of the day, there are some inherent differences which women bring to the table. There are some different qualities, not just biologically, but you know, physiologically as well, on every spectrum. So when we talk about embracing womanhood, we talk about creating an awareness of these differences. Uh, Bringing on the point which sir mentioned about upbringing, there is a common notion, especially in our country, that it is not just the men of our households which create a patriarchal society. Women of the household aid that too, because in the past, the kind of suppression women have gone through, especially in our society, we tend to see how even our mothers try to, stop their daughters from doing something. So the point about embracing womanhood should start from a level where we acknowledge what womanhood is, and that starts from your households, from our schools, everywhere. Embracing starts with acknowledging what it is, being aware about what it is. What are the problems they have? What are the strengths they have? How are they different from us? Because for men, they inherently assume that they are superior. without actually understanding what women are at various levels. And I think even in today's education system, in most of the schools, I'm privileged enough to be, taught in a school where people were good enough to explain the differences in everything. But most of the people in our country aren't. So embracing womenhood starts at an education level, and I think it's more of an awareness issue at this point of time, where people need to be aware of what womenhood is, and then we can, think further in terms of creating an equitable and egalitarian society.
Exactly, exactly. Very well said, actually. Because the thing is, like, when until and unless we acknowledge the differences, it's very difficult to bridge these differences, actually. And the main other problem, as you have rightly mentioned, that when we are talking about men, we should also talk about women who are also the one who's taking part in conditioning the patriarchic system. But I also somehow feel personally, when we are against the patriarchal society, we should also be against the matriarchal society as well. There should be a equal one. If the father cannot be a head of the family, then why the mother? So let this be both of them together, work together to build the family, right? So Priyanka ma'am, what would you suggest on this, and what is your opinion on this? You are on mute, ma'am. Yeah.
Ma'am, before I continue with the question that you've posed, I just like to further stress upon what Mohit and Dr. Poor mentioned. That is, women, yes, of course, they are there are a lot of changes that are coming on, and there is a basic difference, of course. But until we can bring a change about in the society, which we all are trying to a certain extent, women need to understand that nobody will give them power, they need to take it. Okay, that is needed, that is the need of the hour. You cannot wait complaining saying, okay, this was not done for me, this person did not aid me, my father did not allow me to study, or my father did not aid my studies. And I'm talking from experience. Okay, if nobody else is helping you, who's stopping you to go and do it for yourself? Why not? You might not reach that stage, but midway, at least that is also an achievement. And you can always boast of being a self-made woman when you're doing it on your own. It gives you a lot of experience, it gives you a lot of footing groundwork. So that is also something, like, just to stress upon what Mohit and Dr. Kapoor said. And coming back to your question, womanhood, it is a different path, a different journey for every woman. For a certain woman, it could be proving her mettle. For someone else, it could be taking care of her household. For someone else, it could be motherhood. But it is a unique journey for every woman. She might be facing pressures, different struggles in her life. It could be a survival strategy for someone. But another point that I would just like to tag along with this is, whenever you're talking about womanhood in our society, what happens is we tend to judge women based on how much they can sacrifice. Nobody will tell you, ma'am, sweetie, you're a very good daughter because you're not malnutrition. You malnourished, you are eating good, so you're a very good daughter. Nobody will tell you that. Though that is very important. You cannot do anything for anybody else until you take care of yourself. But people will not tell you that. You are a very good sister. Why? Because you knew that you were supposed to go to school. That is your right to education. So you did not give it up so that your brother could study. Oh, you're a very good sister. Why? Why is always woman expected to sacrifice and then prove herself great? You can be great by assisting people around you, your mothers, your fathers, your brothers, whoever is around you. But for that, you don't need to sacrifice your happiness, your rights. So that balance, that needs to be stricken. And once we are able to do that, I feel this gender disparity will be able to overcome that to a great extent.
Great, great, great. I guess Dr. Kapoor wanted to say something. He has raised his hand and he wanted to say something. Yes, Dr. Kapoor. Sir, you're on mute, sir. Ha.
I think let Sabantika come. I was just noting some points. No issues. Please,
Sure, sir.
Sabantika.
Yes, Shibontika. The platform is yours.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you so much, Dr. Kapoor. Thank you, ma'am. When we come to the topic of embracing womanhood, as Ms. Dixit mentioned so clearly, I think it falls into two parts: personal and societal. This entire mindset of taking power or attaining independence is only possible when individuals are happy with themselves. That is when they
Exactly.
embrace themselves as women or as men. And this kind of embracement can only happen when they are taught that womanhood and manhood are separate entities and equal entities. Like, for example, the moment a girl is brought up, she is handed, those toy kitchen sets, because that is a simulation of what she will be doing in the future. That is the kind of mindset that is fed to young girls from a very, very young age when they're 3 or 4 years old. And slowly, as they see powerful women around them, or as they are encouraged by people around them, they grow out of that. I was personally given a toy set like that as well, but today I am doing what I'm doing. And in no way is, handling a kitchen or maintaining a household any lesser than what I'm doing. What I would like to put out here is that there should be a mindset that a woman raising a child and a woman like wielding a scalpel in a doctor's office, there is no difference between that. And both these women should realize that. And coming to the societal part of it, I think, as Dr. Kapoor mentioned, as Mohit mentioned, as Ms. Priyanka mentioned, men have an incredible responsibility when it comes to this, because I believe that when it comes to women being restricted to certain roles in society, it puts a lot of pressure on men. Men are expected to earn from a very young age. Men are expected to be responsible from a very young age. They're expected to not have a lot of emotions, which I genuinely think is baseless. So as long as womanhood and manhood are treated equally, separately but equally, we can move towards a society which treats everyone with the same kind of bias, and gender disparity in itself will cease to exist.
Great, great. So I have one question actually before I ask Dr. Kapoor. Like when you're talking about the societal things, actually. So as we are born, right? Society here like puts a expectation on us, right? So you are a girl, you are going like I'm going to make you wear frocks and all. And being a boy, I will make you wear jeans, pants and all, trousers. You are being a boy, you are supposed to play with guns and all. Being a girl, I can buy you some Barbie dolls and kitchen sets and all those stuff from a very beginning. So my question would be, how a society perceives gender inequality since the time we are born? So Dr. Kapoor, I would like you to add here first and throw a light on this.
Uh, I've heard all the esteemed panelists, and they are so much informed about all these issues. But issue which I really want to say that is, I personally think, except for the biological differences, there is no difference between men and women. It's all social construct which we have created for ourselves from years. Look, if you talk about power, physical power I'm talking of, I have so many examples when women have shown their grit and physical power far more than men. We always say men are stronger physically. I totally don't believe into this. Yeah. Look at the women who are working in the villages. They carry so much of weight on their head,
Exactly.
showing their physical powers which they are having. And same time, men are sitting in the farms and drinking. Yeah, where is that power gone?
Exactly.
Talk of emotional issues. I am a firm believer that women are far more emotionally strong than men. Far more emotionally stronger than men. In all difficult situations which I have seen, women were able to take better decisions than men. Yeah. They're not impulsive. They're so much better controlled of their emotions immediately. Except for again saying biological issues, and that too I will say the God has gifted women with such an important power of taking this world forward. Yeah, they are सृष्टि को बना रही हैं ले बोलते हैं यार. Even men can't do this. I really feel deprived sometimes. Why can't I give a birth to the baby? Yeah? Why a woman was given that right only? Yeah? Such a powerful right to take this world forward. A woman has been given. Yeah? Man has done, God has done Discrimination with men, yeah, has not given me power to breastfeed a baby. Yeah. I feel deprived of. Why can't I do that? My children would have been far more attached to me if I would have been able to feed them. So at this moment, for me, womanhood is far more stronger than a manhood. Yeah. And I want to embrace womanhood. They are stronger than me any way, any day. Works is doing a household work is lesser than my work in my office. It's far more difficult, far more engaging, requiring far more energies throughout the day they are working, unpaid. So they are stronger than me. Yeah? They are contributing to this world more than me. Yeah? Where
But
is
sir,
where is where is the
I have
ego of
one
man?
question. I have one question on this actually. This is my personal question, and I want to I think this can be the question for many of us. As you said that women have taken such a huge responsibility, and taking care of household is not an easy task. Even that engages you a lot of things because it's a unpaid one. But then being a homemaker, those who are working in house and those who are as a working and taking a role of a housewife और होम मेकर होम मेकर मीन्स जो घर को बनाती है घर को संवारती है दैट इज अ होम मेकर बट देन दे आर लुक डाउन दे आर नॉट लुक्ड अप इवन व्हेन इफ लाइक बोलते हैं ना कि अगर बच्चे को जैसे क्लास 1 एंड 2 बच्चों को लिखते हैं कि आप इसकी तरह बनना चाहते हो जस्ट राइट 4-5 लाइन्स दे से आई वांट टू बिकम लाइक माय फादर nobody writes that I want to become like my mother who is a homemaker so
Um,
I don't know.
can I just intervene?
Yes,
Can I
yes,
just
yes, Priyanka.
intervene? I'm
Sure,
a
sure.
mother of two sons, and that does not happen in my house. Trust
Wow,
me. My son,
that's good.
immediately, whenever there is any kind of a thing, my mom is very strong, physically, mentally, emotionally. And he's only in class one. He's promoted to class two, and he knows that. So that entire thing that you're mentioning, ma'am, is because that is the kind of atmosphere which is presented to the children.
Exactly.
Wives take a back seat. They do not
Exactly.
want to
Why?
show themselves stronger. That is exactly the mindset of the women as well. I was talking about oppressed and the
Hmm.
oppressors, no? To a certain
Mm-hmm.
extent, oppressed are also responsible, right? If
Exactly.
you know that you have a capability, why would you want to, keep it hidden? It is
Exactly.
within you. Let it blossom just to keep some people happy around you. And when you are not happy, how can you keep your family happy? It would never
Exactly.
work, right? And that all depends on how your child perceives you, the perception. If your child sees you as a go-getter, even if you are a homemaker, doesn't matter.
Hmm.
He sees you that, okay, you are able to take your decisions as a homemaker, you are able to contribute freely, express your views. Even if you're a homemaker, nobody is stopping you from expressing your views, having opinions,
Hmm.
talking bravely about those opinions without actually, if you are right, you shouldn't think whether you're offending somebody or not. If it is the
Hmm.
right thing, it should be said. So these are the things which actually, affect the children rather than,
Exactly.
so that is all conditioning.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Shivantika, what do you want to say on this?
I think, as ma'am mentioned, strength, power, all of these entities, they come in various forms. And I think society in general has failed in making people realize that. Like, as
Mm-hmm.
of right now, since we all come from an educated background, we can all say that, you know, women of different backgrounds, men of different backgrounds, they wield a very similar power that may come in different forms, but
Mm-hmm.
that is some kind of an education that a lot of people have not received. Like, ma'am, you
Exactly.
started this discussion by mentioning clothing. And that is a very important marker of how people perceive each other in society. For example,
Exactly.
recently, all of the debates that are going around regarding the Sharia law of clothing and everything, and what women are choosing to wear. I personally, when I was very young, around 12, 13, I used to view certain clothing as a bit restrictive as compared to something that people wore of their own free choice. And I realize that mistake now because everyone can wear whatever they wish to wear
Exactly.
as long as they are comfortable about it. And the reason why clothing in specific is such a important marker is because We wear clothing every day. We go out, we choose to present ourselves in certain manners every day. Some types of
Exactly.
clothing make some people feel powerful, some don't. The same thing happens with their kind of behavior. As ma'am mentioned,
Exactly.
Priyanka ma'am mentioned, as a homemaker, how do I put myself in a position of power? I don't have to do anything special. I'm handling a family, I'm handling an entire household. I am
Exactly.
by default an extremely powerful person. I manage the moods of people around me. That makes me no lesser than a manager
Exactly.
working in a multinational corporation. It makes me no lesser.
Exactly.
And if this kind of mindset is normalized and is taught to people, is conditioned in young people, then I don't really think we'll have much of a problem, dealing with coming soon.
Exactly. Even I agree with you, Shivantika. When it comes about the multitasking part, okay. So being a woman, we have a lot of roles simultaneously together to play with, right? Like when even if we are working, we are working at the same time. We are balancing the household. We are balancing children. If I am a mother, I am balancing all the family members and everything, and then we are taking care of the needs of our family members at the same time. That is also taken care of our like by a woman. Then how why come this we have to still go on fighting for our rights and equality? Like, yes, we want this thing,
Absolutely.
we want to have equal right. Why? That's the biggest dilemma, I would, and irony, I would rather say, right? What
Yes,
you
ma'am.
want to yes, yes, Shivantika. Yes,
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 ma'am.
sorry,
In
sorry.
clear addition to what you have mentioned, ma'am, recently in all of the forms that we fill as students, when it comes to mother's occupation, if earlier, if her occupation was that of a homemaker, that would not count for much. That would count for unemployed. But now we can proudly write homemaker, and I think
Exactly.
it's a sign of a good change.
Exactly. And rather than writing housewife, is always better to write a homemaker.
Absolutely.
Making a home is not an easy task. And maybe making a home is a easy, but maintaining it is a Herculean task, I feel. Yes, Mohit, please, we all want to hear from you now.
Okay. First of all, I heartily appreciate Dr. Kapoor's tribute to women and the way Priyanka ma'am and Shabontika broke down the problems which women have been facing and how to overcome them. I would just like to leave a small comment on gender equality, which the original question was, and what I think is a problem with the society which we live in. So I think the society that we live in is very short sighted, or we look at things from a very absolute perspective. Like in mathematics, we have that absolute sign. We look at things from a very absolute perspective. For example, if I go for a cricket trial match, right, I expect to be judged only on my cricket skills and not on my ability to study and get a 10 pointer in my class. So when it comes to our society's assessment of genders, assessment of men, women, I see that the differences which women and men bring on the table are accounted for in every sphere of life, which is not exactly required. When I choose a speaker in the Lok Sabha, I don't really care if that person is a woman or a man, as long as they have the required qualifications, the required foresight to be a speaker of the Lok Sabha. But at the same time, when I'm creating a health law for the country, I have to bring into account the differences which men and women bring onto the table. For example, women have maternity needs, they have their periods, men have some different physical problems of their own. So the point is, these differences and this equality changes when it comes from sphere to sphere. I do not necessarily should have a bias against women when deciding on something which does not even involve a difference between a man and a woman, which is something which as a society we need to work on. We cannot be absolute on our decision making based on every situation. Every situation, every occupation, every circumstance has its own merit, has its own judgment criteria. And gender essentially is not a part of 99% of those. It's probably a part of 1%, as I mentioned, health being one of them, because there are separate needs, especially when it comes to various mental health forums. Again, it's a part of health. Women, since they have the ability to bear children, since they have different responsibilities when it comes to bearing children, they can have separate mental health issues compared to men, which is something which is acceptable. So the entire conversation in society is about gender, gender, gender 100% of the time. When honestly, 99.5% of the times it's not really required. It's like,
Exactly.
judging the cliche quote. It's like judging a fish on its ability to climb a tree. It makes no sense.
Exactly.
So I think that is
Exactly.
something which can be addressed. As human beings, we can look at different situations in its own merit and not have an absolute view of the society on everything that we take a call on.
In
Exactly
fact,
so.
I came across a very good, actually, a concept that was very interesting. I wouldn't exactly judge it because it's not yet heard of in India, but it's a concept of babies. Okay, babies is a concept where babies are raised with neutral gender. The anatomy of the baby is completely normal. But it is unknown to everybody else except the closest caregivers and the parents. It is not shared with anybody else. And the pronoun that is used along is they and bees, that is babies. Okay, so instead of giving her a he or she, and adding on to those expectations, and leading them up how to grow up and what kind of and behavior to be expected from them, they are just brought up just like a normal baby without any gender bias. And once they grow up, after they reach to a certain extent, they are allowed to choose their own choices, their likes, their interests, without mention of that he or she. That what happens is, this term was coined in 2018, and it gained a lot of currency, though it is not exactly broken into the mainstream yet. But the thing is, okay, it is an interesting thing that could be introduced in India, where female fantaside, and there's a lot of problems. Let's not even go there. But so here what happens is, if that could be followed, when we see a girl, we immediately say, oh, so cute, so beautiful. And the boy, wow, very intelligent, you run very fast. The girl might be running fast, but you'll say, okay, she's cute. The boy, oh, he's very fast. That is how we've been conditioned to even adore babies. We bring bias even there, unknowingly, of course. So this actually caught my attention, and I thought, yes, why not? You are actually letting the baby grow in a free atmosphere, without any expectations, any womanhood, manhood, nothing. You are a human. Grow up as a human. What is the difficulty? Take up being a chef, take up being an engineer, a medical student, whatever. Nobody's there to judge you. So just to add on to what Mohit was saying.
Even I would like to add here is like, even when we associate some certain positive adjective to the name or to the gender, that is also biased somehow, right? Cute, as Priyanka mentioned, that cute girl, sweet girl, handsome boy, the like intelligent boy. So even we tend to, but I somehow feel, this is my personal opinion, uh, this is the concept of all of us, because we all have contributed towards it actually, and as the society as a whole, we are responsible for this, right? क्योंकि हम इसको क्या करते हैं, इसको हम धरोहर की तरह लेके आ रहे हैं. वॉट एवर आर एंसेस्टर, वॉट एवर आर पेरेंट या ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स हैव फॉलोड, वी स्टिल आर फॉलोइंग. But then where the change is going to happen, that is the biggest thing, and biggest question. Now my next question, and the last question I will forward, and this is a big one actually, as we are talking about the womanhood, so is it a phase or it is a complete journey? And as we are going to talk only till the age of 30, because this is part 1, so as we are only completing and covering the first 30 years of life, what challenges you feel that a woman goes through in her first 30 years of life? And the challenge is because to every problem there is a solution, right? So what solution can we suggest or can we think of, like अगर ये problem जा रहा है तो इसका solution ये हो सकता है. So I would like to ask Dr. Kapoor for this first. Yes, sir.
Each stage of life, womanhood faces many challenges. If you start, as we have already talked about, lot of issues which are already there. But if you talk about adolescents, talk about young children, I've seen so many challenges being faced by my girls in the schools. Being going to the school to taking sessions, Really, even teachers, though they are women teachers, they discriminate between boys and girls, even in the schools. The boy is allowed to do bullying, everything, and accept it that this is normal for that boy to do. And girls are made to be a mute spectators, sufferers, oppressed people, even in the school times. The way they have to hide even their normal feelings, that's not about conveying to the teacher that I'm suffering because of this. They're not allowed to speak over there. Rather, they are blamed for the things which men make them do, the boys make them do over there. I'll give you an example. When I was in school, a girl came to me that 10 boys have proposed to me up to now. They have been passing slips. Believe me, this girl was shattered. कहते, I can say yes to only one boy, sir. I can't say yes to 10 boys. And rest of the 4 boys, they become bullies for the boy who I've said yes to him. That boy keeps suffering because I've said yes to him. He get bullied. And rest 4, they go into depression. Even I will say men. The men also are not able to sometimes convey their emotions. They are not able to cry. They're not made to cry. They're not thought about crying. But look at the state of the girl who was in such an anxiety what to do, sir. What can I do? The many other examples, girls started bleeding in the school and they were so much traumatized, which is none of their control. So somehow we, again, I will come to this. We need to start, as rightly said by Priyanka Madam, rather not labeling them, giving them any gender, and bringing them in a neutral way. And also, I will say, again, I will say, the boys right from the school need to be taught how to respect the other gender. The respect for other gender is far more important than love for other gender. Love will only grow when you have respect for the other gender. And same thing continues over there. And somebody has raised that point. Sometimes even women go against women. I think that's one thing which we always look for instant gratification. We don't look for the long term issues which are going up, which have cropped up. Other, I'm a firm believer, even whatever social transformation has happened up to now across the world, not only in India, it's been women who have led this social transformation. I have so many examples. Men have always been followers. Women, once they forgive their instant gratification, men, what will they play is a game. Give them instant gratification, take a sari, take a hair, and ultimately rule over them. Just forget about instant gratification and think of the long terms. How are you going to bring this world, better world, and neutral world? It's all power game. I'm telling you. Ultimately, it all becomes a power game because you are offered instant gratification and you forget about long-term goals. Okay, I won't compete with you over there. I won't do that in the family. So somehow this mindset has to be changed in the world over so that we are making this world equal and this transformation has to happen with the men's participation. I again say that men's embracement of womanhood. They accept these issues that women are equal and they have to take over. Challenges are there all across the world. We can talk about the challenges which a married woman faces or unmarried woman faces. Let it be career. For the same job, the women are paid less and men are paid more. I have so many such examples over giving over there. In the families, in the career, everywhere they suffer. But let's again say that I will again say, except for the biological differences Mohit was asking for, because of biological changes, health issues are different. But for all other issues, I say let it be societal, let it be psychological, let it be issues, even mental, Mohit, mental issues are same, just the same. Some have more, some have less. So this keep on changing. Even drug abuse, I will say that. The same thing is happening over there now. It's almost all things are almost equal. We need to work together, considering we are just the same. God has just made us difference, given a woman a better chance to take this world forward. He also had more faith in women. that women will be able to take this world forward. Men won't be able to do this. I say when God believes that women are better than men. That's why they're given the right to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Priyanka, what would be your views on this when we're talking about the challenges for the first 30 years and the solutions to those things if we can provide or suggest?
Um, Challenges, of course, there are a lot. There are a lot of challenges. In being a human, I think we are born to struggle and to face challenges. Women, to a certain extent, more because immediately that word judgment comes, right? You're judged for every little thing. The question that you had started with, womanhood, a journey or a phase, I would say it's a journey through different phases. When you're born, immediately girl is born, पीपल विल कंसोल यू डोंट वरी लक्ष्मी आई है कोई बात नहीं ठीक हो जाएगा अगली बार ट्राई कर लेना मतलब लक्ष्मी आई है कोई बात नहीं फिर अगली बार ट्राई कर लेना दैट इज इमीडिएट थिंग ओके then as the girl starts growing as she's growing up the father starts accumulating the dowry forget about what he's teaching her the academics the education that is just a bonus but डाउरी इज इम्पोर्टेंट शादी करनी है उसके आगे जाकर ठीक है उसके बाद जैसे बड़े होते हैं फिर करियर चॉइसेस यार तुम ये करना चाह रही हो पर कल को शादी हो जाएगी तो इतना समय फिर घर पे नहीं दे पाओगी तो जरूरी है ऐसा कोई करियर चूज करो जिसमें घर और वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस कर सको काम से लौट कर खाना पका सको बच्चे संभाल सको वो जरूरी है ठीक है so it's a journey through different phases where people are judging you they are giving you unsolicited advice most of the time and you cannot do anything about it no matter how much you make them understand not needed I'm good I'll take care my husband doesn't have a problem goes unheard they will make sure to keep giving you that so yes challenges are there but again as we all have like accustomed ourselves to it listen to it laugh at it forget it do what you think is the best for you don't even like give it a second thought I would say forget about making allowing them to make you anxious no it just does not deserve your attention okay laugh over it smile at it if you are bold enough like me give it back I am known to be very sharp tongue. People often say, अरे यार मतलब मेरी मम्मी से पूछते हैं पैदा हुई थी तो क्या कैंची चटाई थी बड़ी जबान चलती है इसकी तो most of the people are like very offended with me. I am that way. I can't help it. I can't keep my mouth shut. If I feel something is wrong, I will blurt it out.
But then,
Okay.
unfortunately, I want to add here something. When you're talking about Mufat and Jawan Chalane Wala, in our society, somehow girls are taught, and शुरू से condition किया जाता है कि please थोड़ा धीमे से हंसो, थोड़ा धीमे बोलो.
मैम
Because
मैम
I
आपको
am the
मालूम
one
है
who
आपको आपको मालूम है ना कुछ कुछ चीजें नालायक रह जाती हैं आप पूरी कोशिश कर सकते हो सुधारने की बट वो नहीं सुधरते आई एम वन ऑफ देम
because I have also faced the same that please dhime bolo. You speak very loudly. This is you are not supposed to do that.
but
You are not
I
supposed to.
ma'am I went through exactly the same and see my speaking powers have brought me till here many all through my school I've been participating in elocutions I never needed a mic I was in Loreto. I had a huge, hall, assembly hall, and I stood on the stage. And without a mic, the last person. I have a lot of friends who might be watching this, my school friends, and they'll vouch for it. माने मेरी आवाज ऐसी थी ना कि आवाज ऊपर से दो तो नीचे बंदे को ठीक सुनाई देगी. I made it a point. So what we are talking today is not to raise our voice, but to be heard. I
Exactly.
that is what I would like to emphasize upon. So loud or not loud, make sure you make every word count and make sure you make yourself heard. And that could be through actions, through words. That is your choice.
Exactly. Exactly. Mohit, what is your viewpoint on this? As what Dr. Kapoor and Ma'am Priyanka has given a light and thrown a light on.
First of all, Dr. Kapoor, again, the way he tributed womanhood and the way he tributes women is something
Incredible.
which is
It's
incredible.
incredible. Yes.
And Priyanka ma'am's entire breakdown of the stereotyping which she has faced and how she has overcome is again admirable. And I'm so happy that we are having this discussion today. Based on how I started my talk, I would just like to add one small point regarding the entire problem of assumption by some personal examples, which I've faced even in my college these days, and which something which knowingly slash unknowingly even young people do, so that we can understand how even people who are aware of everything can somehow be swayed by social construct. So I'm a part of many societies, and there are a lot of work which we do in college based on number of objectives which we try to fulfill, and there are various categories of work. So one category of work involves a lot of bureaucracy and running around, all the financials, people running around with papers, people going and talking to 100 different offices, people trying to get 100 things approved. It's all sweaty. Sometimes people are rude to you, everything. And even I have been guilty of it to some extent till some time back, that we always tend to give such kind of work to the boys, because we assume that we do not want to let the girls go through this rude behavior of all these people. We don't want them to run so much in so much heat, be so sweaty all about it. It's just not a very good experience, so we try to just give it to the boys. However, the thing which we fail to understand is, have we even given an equal opportunity or asked the girls whether they want to do this or not? We automatically assume that this is something which they wouldn't want to do, and we give it to the boys. Instead, I believe a small rectification, that okay, if tomorrow something needs to be done, the day before in the evening I ask everyone, irrespective of whether he is a boy or a girl, that tomorrow we have this work. Do you want to do it? Are you available at that time? And then whoever volunteers to do it, just go for it, man. It does not matter if it's a girl or a boy. If that person wants to do it, let them do it. Like, have a
Exactly.
proper communication about it rather than just blindly assuming कि यार इससे
Give
नहीं
a
होगा इससे
choice.
होगा. Yeah, give a choice. Have an open communication about it. Encourage people. If let's say a girl comes up to you and say, I want to do it, but I'm a little unsure, encourage that person. That why not? If the boys are doing it, you can do it as well. It does not necessarily a boy or a girl thing. Everyone sees numbers the same way. I see 50,000 as 50,000. A girl will see 50,000 as 50,000 only. So the point is, like, even unknowingly, and I'm very sorry, even I am guilty of that to some extent in the past. But this is something which we have to work on. The concept of communication. We do not talk about it. We do not ask for opinions. We just assume कि यार नहीं होगा. So, the moment we start talking about things, the moment we start involving everyone in decision making, I think ultimately actions will become more and more equitable. In the families
Exactly.
as well, if we start taking opinions of everyone in the household at an equitable level, automatically the actions which a household commits will become equitable. We have to start from
Exactly.
scratch, that is involving people in decision. If we do not set our triggers right, if we do not make our triggers equitable, how are we expecting our actions to be done? So I think proper communication from day zero, asking everyone's opinions, is a major step up which we can think of if we want to create a better and a more equitable society.
Exactly. Even I want to add here, when I hear you and Dr. Kapoor saying this thing, and as Dr. Kapoor have mentioned that men need to embrace womanhood first. That will mark a change. And as I see that both of you have embraced that womanhood, when you the way you people have put across the views that yes, we feel that we are not giving that choice to the woman that okay, are you ready to or are you willing to take this work or not, rather than doing that we are assuming and we are putting ki, nahi, this work is meant for I'm giving this to the boy and this work for the all the like घर पे या फिर office में रह के if you can work so that you don't need to run around can be done by you. So that's the thing, at least you are embracing that change that yes, I am the one who is going to work on it and I am the one who can bring on that. And we can feel that if one person change, that means there is a hope and opportunity for others to change as well, राइट जैसे हम ये बोलते हैं नेगेटिव वर्ड में कि एक मछली सारे तालाब को गंदा करती है, वही चीज अगर एक मछली या एक इंसान की थॉट प्रोसेस चेंज होती है, वही इंसान 10 लोगों पे जाके थॉट प्रोसेस चेंज करने की भी ताकत रखती है. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. शिबंतिका, व्हाट वुड योर लाइक योर व्यूज ऑन दिस?
Right, ma'am. I'll start by answering the initial question, which is whether or not womanhood is a phase or a journey. Uh,
Exactly.
Womanhood, the word in itself, is defined as a state or condition of being a woman. And as a student of chemical engineering, thermodynamics is a very important subject, and the word state is very wonderfully explained there. So, a state is basically a description of a constancy through which a lot of change is happening.
Okay.
So I would like to describe womanhood in the same manner. It is a state. There is a certain amount of stability to it, a certain amount of constancy to it, which is only maintained by constant change. As Priyanka ma'am mentioned, it is a journey through which a lot of phases pass by. In the same manner, when we are coming to how we are going to go about correcting certain behaviors in society, or like maybe moving towards a more gender equal society, I think the greatest thing that we can do as individuals from the first moment is pointing out all of the injustices from a very young age, in classrooms, when teachers say, I need a strong boy to help me lift these 6 or 7 chairs. I was the girl in that class who would run in front of the boy and grab all the chairs myself because I felt like I had something to prove. And
Exactly.
even in college, I think Mohit can also speak for this. When it comes to work, or when it comes to any kind of injustice, anyone pointing that out first will result in a resolution for that problem being reached much earlier without any of the miscommunication, without any of the hard feelings. So, the smallest injustice, even if it is someone being rude, even in one sentence, if it is someone trying to slack off on certain responsibilities based on assumptions, if it is someone being overburdened with work with the assumption that they will do it, if all of these injustices are nipped at the very root, I think that a lot of the problems which become very, very like intense later on can be solved very easily by just communicating about it at a very early age. And as for it, assumptions, I do believe that is a very big problem. As Priyanka ma'am mentioned, people saying that you have a very sharp tongue. In fact, even girls are asked to walk very quietly, to have light footsteps, to speak
Exactly.
quietly, to always have a smile on their face. All of these things need to be removed entirely. People are just
Exactly.
expected to behave in a very social manner so that no one can point out any misbehavior. That is the bare minimum that people need to be taught, and I think that is more than enough for us to sustain a proper functioning society without any of these assumptions कि ज़्यादा बोलना नहीं चाहिए या फिर ज़्यादा जोर से चलना नहीं चाहिए. So remove all of that. Let us just keep a bare minimum amount of societal behavior in hand and point out all the injustices, communicate about it. I think if we do all of that, we'll definitely make a lot of progress.
Exactly, exactly. I totally agree, Shabontika. Even I would like to add one more thing here. When we talk about the societal pressure, expectations, when we talk about कि ये मत करो, वो मत करो, ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए, it's not restricted to women only. Is
Exactly.
applicable for men also. कि ऐसे करो, वैसे तुमको कमाना है, कितना even when you go for marriage ना, तो we ask boys भैया कितना कमाते हो, राइट, तो वो चीजें भी आती है, वो एक प्रेशर पड़ जाता है. सो द मेन प्रॉब्लम इज नॉट ओनली कि मेन वुमेन ये वो, the main problem is the expectation which is laid upon us by the people that this is right, this is wrong, should and should not, and everything is segregated in black and white. There is nothing I can see gray कि हाँ चलो कोई ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट नहीं है तो मिडिल का पाथ लेते हैं, ये नहीं तो वो नहीं तो चाहिए चाहिए बीच का, तुम आधे रास्ते आओ, आई विल कम इन द हाफ ऑफ द वे एंड देन वी विल हैव अ लाइक कोई बीच का एक म्यूचुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग निकालते हैं, वो चीजें नहीं है. सो द मेन प्रॉब्लम इज द परसेप्शन ऑफ एवरी वन ऑफ अस. Even we are the one who also have a tendency of judging. I will not say that I also don't judge, because after all we are human beings and is a human being nature, innate nature. Unfortunately, I would rather say that in a social platform that is a human nature, that we are bound to judge things despite of knowing the fact that we are not supposed to poke our nose. We are nobody to judge on anyone appearance or anyone qualities or anything. We can analyze, we can suggest, but no judgment. बट देन हम लोग होते हैं जैसे कोर्ट पे बैठे हैं, हमने जजमेंट पास कर दिया, तुम तो ऐसे हो, यू आर लाइक दिस. सो वी हैव टू वर्क in that particular way as well. So we are almost on the verge of an end of our
I just want
discussion.
to add
Yes, sir.
something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Swantika, you said women are supposed to be mild mannered, talk softly, walk softly. That's what men has to embrace. They need to also talk softly. They also need to walk softly. They also be very soft in talking. Priyanka
Exactly.
was saying she was labeled as sharp tongue. That's a male characteristic. That's why she was being labeled as sharp tongue. If men would also won't have sharp tongue, nobody will label her as a sharp tongue. Even men has to
Right.
be womanhood. Yeah, I will say that
Absolutely.
it's a humanhood. It's not manhood or womanhood. It's a humanhood. Yeah, each one
Right.
has to be soft. Yeah,
As
each one has to
exactly,
be
sir.
soft. There has
That
to
is
be
what you
no.
mentioned.
And each one, again, as Mohit was saying, communicating, each one of us has give the right to the persons to voice their opinions. Why should we
Exactly.
slap them that is a woman or this is men saying this loudly बोल रहे हैं तो usually we slap them or we get slapped. The some person starts speaking loudly, isn't it? Okay, no, I won't speak further. Yeah, even sometimes I've seen women provoking men that boy has done this to me, go and hit that man, go and talk
Exactly.
louder. Is a woman who are promoting that sharp tongue in
Exactly.
the men also, yeah, isn't it? So somehow
Exactly.
both of the genders have to come back to equality. Yeah, we are all human, womanhood.
Exactly.
Let's be soft, let's be safe, and each one of us has to give the other person right to voice the opinion.
Exactly.
We should voice
Absolutely.
opinion and totally there has to be difference of opinion, then only we will grow. Yeah, if we have just one opinion, no society can grow. The difference
Yeah.
of opinion has to be respected and given
Exactly.
credit to be so that we become incredible that we are respecting each other's opinion. That's a womanhood. Yeah, I won't say now womanhood or manhood, I will say womanhood. Yeah, let's be
That's a
soft.
great one.
Let's what
Yes.
part not perfect. Yeah.
Yes, sir. In
Exactly.
addition to
Exactly.
that, sir, exactly what you mentioned is what I meant when I said bare minimum social behavior. So all of the
Yes, that's
mild
a
mannered
womanhood.
behavior. Exactly, sir.
That's
Absolutely.
a womanhood. Yeah, that's a womanhood,
The
I will say.
moment, yes, sir. The moment we see that as a prerequisite for everyone rather than just one gender, that is the moment we set the scales right.
Same thing, definitely, sure.
Exactly, exactly. So, like, I would like to request every panelist one by one to say or share a views, a takeaway for all our viewers. That what would be your outcome of this complete discussion for today's? I would like to ask Dr. Kapoor for this to go ahead. Like, what is the message you want to put across to our viewers now? Yes, Dr. Kapoor.
Yeah, for me, it will be definitely equality because this is the moment of reckoning. This is the moment where we need to really bring equality in both the genders because if we embrace, as a man, I will say, I embrace womanhood, I will be definitely be able to make this world better. Not only, I will say, economically, definitely that will also happen. Socially, psychologically, let's embrace womanhood. This is the time. If we want a bright future for our children, let's embrace womanhood.
Excellent, superb, superb. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to ask Mohit, like, what would be your message for our viewers actually?
Yes, ma'am. So I would just like to end on a tone. It's something which has been in my mind since a long time, and I think people outside do not understand this a lot. And it's again on the issue of short sightedness, especially for people who are against empowering women in today's age. I hear this argument a lot that, if you're talking about equality, why does the term empower come into the mix? Why are there reservations for women if they want to be equal? Why are there separacy for women when they want to be equal?
Mhm.
So I would just like to give a very small reply to that on this forum, and this is something which sums up my discussion of today's sums up this discussion today. It's that equality is not just something which you see today. It is not something which you can define according to your convenience. Equality is also time bound. If you're seeking equality today, check whether you have given that equality in the past as well. Equality spans across time. Equality spans across the past, the present, and the future. And I think today everyone on this panel can agree that in the past society has not been equal. So we have no right to take moral high ground and say that यार आप भी women को empower मत करो, चलो सबको equal right देते हैं, कोई reservation नहीं होगा, कुछ नहीं होगा, let's make everyone equal. Why? If you have ostracized women in the past, you have to compensate for it in the future, in the present, so that you can have an equal future. If we take a
Exactly.
moral high ground high ground all of a sudden that, yeah, okay, let's be equal now. Let's give everyone equal rights and not, have reservations, not empower women, then you are just twisting timelines according to your convenience. You're twisting narratives according to your convenience. Compensate for what the society has done in the past. We have committed a crime. It's time to compensate for that. It's time to empower people who did not feel empowered before. And probably then, 50 or 100 years down the line, we can actually say that we are a truly equal society. And I'm sorry to put that timeline, but in a history with 5,000 years of ostracization, we cannot expect equality to come up in 6 months. People have to be given that chance to feel empowered. People have to women have to be given the chance to be educated, to be in government positions, to be in jobs, so that maybe, yes, probably 100 years down the line, sorry, we don't have the need for reservation. Then, by
Exactly.
merit, by opportunity, we can say that women and men have an equal role in society. So please do
Exactly.
not cry when people are given reservations, when women are, given extra chances compared to you. We are supposed, this is the bare minimum which we can do as a society. Embrace that and help everyone grow together. Because this is stage
Exactly.
one of creating an equitable society. You cannot just create an
Exactly.
equitable society by having unequal opportunity. Thank you so much.
Exactly. Beautifully said and beautifully quoted and penned down. Very good, Mohit. Yes, Shibantika, you want to go ahead with it. Yeah. What would be your
Uh,
message?
Yes, ma'am. So I think the greatest thing that we can take away from this session is the idea of acceptance that transcends borders and breaks ceilings. Because I believe that as a society in general, the moment we are born, the moment we exist, we have a certain amount of expectations placed on us. It is our job to make people around us and make ourselves realize that those expectations do not matter. The way you view yourself, the way you accept yourself, that is what puts you in position in society to be accepted or to be judged or to be integrated with society in general. And that kind of acceptance comes with righting wrongs and promoting rights. So, if we do not start pointing out the smallest, minute injustices in society, things for which we may be called as "ye to hota hai," like let it go, let's not talk about it, let's not drag on the conversation. These sentences need to be replied with a strong no, because all of these injustices build up and eventually create a situation where women or men or just individuals are don't even want to speak up because they are so
Exactly.
used to it. So if this ideal in general is removed, like a woman coming back from a job at the end of the day and a man coming back from a job at the end of the day, both of them are supposed to do their laundry. Like this is the bare minimum.
Exactly.
And it's a very generalized example that I've given, but both of them are expected to do that because clothes are clothes, food is food. We all eat
Exactly.
food, we all wear clothes, we all exist in society, we all study, we all see 50,000 as 50,000. So if
Exactly.
you do not point out these injustices from an early point, then they'll continue to build up, they'll continue to poison mindsets, they'll continue to
Exactly.
divide us apart. And at the same
Exactly.
time, as Mohit mentioned, as Dr. Kapoor mentioned, as Ms. Priyanka mentioned, and even as you mentioned, ma'am, there are certain rights that have to be promoted because we are in a phase in which we are compensating for all of the injustices that have already happened. And at this point,
Exactly.
we cannot expect everything to be normal. We cannot sweep all of the bad things under the rug. Right now, we are in a situation where we can speak about this, we can discuss this. There are certain women in the country who are devoid of basic human rights. There are men in society who are so pressurized and yet still have to hear at the end of the day कि मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता है. If all
Exactly.
of these expectations are removed and if all of the wrongs are pointed out, then we can actually move to a position where we all can say hi hello to each other without worrying who that person is or what they do for a living.
Exactly. So I totally agree with you. Very well said, Shubhantika. Last but not the least, Ma'am Priyanka, I she has shared a poem with me as she has penned down, and I really want her to speak on that. It was like yesterday when she was telling and sharing with me, I really felt like so connected with the poem. So yes, Priyanka.
मैंने अपने विचारों को छंदबद्ध किया है, सो जस्ट गो फॉर इट। ये मत करो, ये मत कहो, चुप रहो, बस सहो। क्यों खटक जाता है जब लड़की कुछ कहती है? आवाज तो जनरली उसकी लड़कों से मीठी होती है। अरे हाँ, हाँ जी, जी हाँ, कहती है तो मन को भाती है, ना कहा तो बस कांटों सी चुप जाती है। लड़की हो चुप रहो, तुम्हें क्या पता, पिता है भाई हैं, रहे हैं तुम्हें बता। हम रखेंगे ख्याल तुम्हारा, बस मानती रहो कहना हमारा। अरे पापा, अरे भैया, प्यारा आपका साथ है, माना आपका हमारे सर पर हाथ है, पर कुछ तो विश्वास करो, परखो, हम में भी वो बात है। ला सकते हैं हम जलजला, देंगे हम दुनिया को हिला, आखिर हम भी तो लक्ष्मीबाई, कर्णावती और किरण बेदी की तरह औरत की ही जात है। धन्यवाद।
Superb. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for each and one of you. Like the way you people have put across your views, and it was a fruitful discussion. Trust me, and I really hope that our viewers would have also enjoyed, and they have taken something along with them, and they can start thinking about the change as well. So thank you so much, everyone. So I would
Thank you.
like to come across. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Mohit. Thank you, Shebontika.
Thank
It
you
was a
so much.
pleasure, sweetie.
Bless.
Glad to
Thank
be
you.
here. And with
Thank
such eminent speakers, and I was so impressed. Especially Dr. Kapoor is established personality. His being confident is quite natural. But with Mohit and Shibontika, it was such a pleasure. These are the future, and if the future is this, we really do not need to worry. Safe hands.
Thank you
exactly,
so much, ma'am.
exactly. I like totally agree with your thing.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So we are almost coming to an end. Yes, just give me 1 second. Yeah. So, as we have unfolded many aspects of few challenges a woman goes through in her first 30 years of life, we also have understood that men also need to be educated and taught the participation and involvement in the gender roles. When we talk about gender roles, rather than assigning the duties and tasks and judging the positive and negatives depending on the gender, we as a society should take upon equal responsibilities for work and help each other to grow. We should remember one thing, that we all have that anima and animus inside us, which means that men have certain traits of feminine in them, which help them to become more emotional and compassionate. And women will have certain amount of masculine feature, which will help them to become strong-headed or physically strong to defend themselves. And this can all be done through acceptance and proper parenting. So, until there's an acceptance in the society to break the boundaries of rigid thoughts and biasness, as we this year we are celebrating International Women's Day with the theme of break the bias, right? So, things will take more time if we don't break the bias, or it will take even decades to change. Remember that rather than sticking to the past, that what has happened and we are going to follow that only, we can become the change and make the world better to live in. So, viewers, we really hope that you all have enjoyed the discussion. Please do suggest your thoughts and views so that we can also learn from you. It's a mutual learning. We would be coming soon with the second part of Embracing Womanhood. Till then, tune into our channel. And I would really like to end my session and our whole discussion with a video. I really hope that you will all enjoy this video. I would like to share my screen.
दीवारें ऊंची है, गलियां है तंग, लंबी डगर है पर हिम्मत है संग, पाँव